So what is up inside of the brand new Plants vs. Brainrot? We have the new bosses update. So today's video, I'm going to be covering everything new inside of this update and the best strats you should be using to grind. So first things first is the bosses. So the core mechanic around bosses is actually really simple, but first things first to note is, as you see, need rebirth level 4 for boss. So it doesn't mean you need that, but the way that works is, so your first boss you can obviously get, the second boss you can get, but you have to have a rebirth. Then the second or the third one, you're going to have a rebirth once again. So as you see, I do have these bosses in my inventory. So this was the first one I got, was this one. Not even going to try to say its name. Then we got this one. And then this was the third one, which was pretty decent. And this one right here, right? So this one, the main upside to the bosses is when you rebirth. And I think rejoin, it'll go back through them. But once again, though, for the most part, they are pretty decent if you're trying to get decent ones off the bat, especially right off rebirthing. But for now, at least, this is one of the main focuses. Now, the next thing is we do have a ton of new Brainrots you can get in the index. You might recognize a few different ones. So pretty much if they're not marked out, I don't have them. But like this one right here, right? We got a few other new secrets and a ton of new mutations. So we got the new Upside Down, Magma, Underworld, and Galactic mutation alongside this guy right here. That's new. Also, we have finally some new plants. So we have a new Grape Seed Mythic. So this is the new best Mythic. The watermelon used to be the best one. Now it's that. Now we also have the Shroombini Seed. So this is a like mushroom shooter, almost like a pea shooter, but that's going to be one of the new best ones you can get. But for the most part, once again, we have that. But we also have a bunch of new cool Brainrots, like this one, 6-7. This is unlimited. Yeah, he doesn't. So what's funny about this one is in the leaks, right, for this, they showed it having like 67,000 per second. Doesn't actually do that, which is a bit of a disappointment. But I mean, they also said it wasn't actually going to do that. Now, the next thing to note for this update is rebirths. They're trying to crack down on the value you get out of rebirths. So the bosses really all spin around your rebirths and the amount of those you have. So if you didn't already know, you do benefit from rebirthing, from getting like a luck multiplier. You get more luck and more money. But the only real issue and downside to this was, it reset all your progress minus your plants. So that is, but still, now that you can get bosses and there's other benefits, rebirthing is actually worth it. But another thing to note about the update, so they added new weapons per rebirth. So each time you rebirth, you get a new bat. Right now, I have this one right here. This deals about 40 damage. Then each rebirth increases your weapon's damage, and they also, help you do that. Now, they also added in each boss. Now, the boss system, so there's 5 new bosses. So they'll appear every 500 spawns, and you defeat them to tier up, right, your spawner. So whenever you defeat the bosses, as you might note, I'm literally like only getting epic and legendaries. So every time you kill a boss, your spawner, like the quality of what comes out of it practically increases, if that makes sense. Now, the next thing is the boss level and spawner timer or tier reset each rebirth, but your spawners come back stronger each time. So yeah, so this resets when you rebirth. So you have to go all the way through like the level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. But the one thing to note is, as you see, the quality of the Brainrots coming out of it increase as well. So when you rebirth, right, it's actually really helpful, especially when you activate luck and all that, because you're going to start getting better and better Brainrots from it and all that. We also have a few other things. So the first event is the Underworld Rift, which gets the Underworld or Upside Down mutation. The next one is Eruption, which gets the Magma mutation. And then the final one is the Reality Flip. So a few cool ones. Now, one more thing finally to note is they did a bit of balance changes. So one of the main notable ones is they buffed the tomato plant. So this one used to kind of suck, right? Like I exactly remember this was the first one I got and it dealt like 5,000 damage. Now it's almost 11,000. So they nearly doubled its damage alongside other balance changes. But for the most part, this is a good update. And if you also, by the way, I'm giving away a bunch of crap, right? Once they re-enable trading, I'm probably going to give away this 6-7. So comment 6-7 if you want it for when gifting is re-enabled. But thank you so much for